A new year is definitely not far away from us, and with it, as it grows older and older, and probably more and more tired of us, well, a lot of changes have happened into the world. A lot of changes in awareness, a lot of changes of lifestyle, but one thing seems to be going, or let's say recurrent. One thing is still recurrent that people will start making what they call the New Year's resolutions. This seems to have become a ritual in which people tell themselves that starting with next year they will change, they will be better, they will be whatever they would wish, but for reasons beyond them, most likely they will not change. See, in many cases, these rituals are nothing else than little excuses so as to not change right now in the moment and lie yourself that you will find the power to do that later. See, life can be very harsh, especially when you live alone and you have to handle all the things. But despite all the tiredness, one still has to push through life because there are things that are draining you. And the point is, those things that drain you need to be weeded out in time. Now, the reason why most people's New Year's resolution fail is because of the energy that they put into those. Up till the moment when that should happen, they keep telling themselves, I will, and will feels like a very feeble power, like a very weak power. Why? Because will means will never happen. The future is referring to something that never happened. Well, it happened maybe in the past, but the future as a tense, well, it didn't happen yet. And the future does not get set in stone just because you say something. Everyone wishes for things, and the wishes usually also depend on one's wisdom and on how many horrible things they have gone through life or how many crippled aspects they have in life. Yes, it is usually the people who cannot enjoy normal life because of crippled limbs or a crippled mind or something has been wrong with them for most of their life or they were born like that. Maybe because of these, they are probably the ones who most ardently wish to do something greater. While people who are quite normal with their physical bodies, functions, well, they seem to be lingering the most. The ancestral aspects of self denial and self negation and giving up on one's childhood, on one's inner child, on one's innocence, and on one's dreams and aspirations. This is something that a lot of us are suffering from. You'll see a lot of people in their youth, even if they're not destroyed by their family mentally, psychically, energetically, emotionally, they still go through this ancestral aspect because it plays a very powerful role. When they are young, they wish all the world, and as they grow old, they start resembling their parents. These are cycles that people have to go through. Many of them will not make it through those cycles, they will live the same cycle as their parents, and well, that cycle will be broken most likely in another lifetime. But everyone wakes up at their own pace. When people say they want to do something, want is an energy of lack because you don't have it, you focus on the lack. It's just that you're using the words in a way that you should not because you're tying the knot even further on your obsession or whatever the problem is. When you say want, want means a craving. Yes, it is a very great desire. It is so powerful, most of the energy goes on the desire itself, not on the idea of change. Yes, only action is the one that changes everything. You can use words and you can twist them and lie yourself as much as you want. Most miserable people are miserable just because they are very good liars. They are horrible liars towards others, but they are perfect liars to themselves. You're only making a goofball out of yourself if you're lying yourself. If it is purely out of survival, then lying yourself may be a necessity. But in most situations where people are too comfortable, they have many weaknesses. One of these weaknesses is freedom. See, we've been living in a world that conditioned us. We must have to work constantly. We must have to fulfill others' desires ever since you're young, then at school, then in your stupid job, and this and that. And that is a problem because one day when people no longer have, let's say, they don't have Saturday and Sunday off, maybe they have a whole week. Suddenly, those people feel like discelebrated beings, right? Beings that once lived in a hive mind and now they are no longer part of that hive mind. Now they have too much spare time, they don't have what to do. And they just doom scroll usually because, well, they have too much spare time and they don't have a sense of direction. Because society doesn't give you a sense of direction. It gives some people, which are obviously sick members of its own, a member of direction, and their purpose is to simply train others to do their own bidding. Because in one's life, you can make someone else's life better, or you can make your life better. Firstly, yes, whether it comes to to the other gender, or whether it comes to professionalism, always upgrade your life and then seek for the others. Because once you have a certain stability, once you can think and function in a certain way, resolutions no longer matter. Yes, you just do something. I've been living most of my life doing things without necessarily wanting them. I knew I had to do something and I just did it. The problem is that after 20 such years, I feel such a burnout that I don't feel like doing much. And yes, that actually stings when it comes to the fact that when you suddenly have days off, it's almost impossible to handle them because you want to do things, but you end up doing those as an escape mechanism instead of just enjoying the journey. Because that is what life is, enjoying the journey that this physical body can allow you to have. And the problem is, people overdo that and overdo that. They get tired, overburnt, and then, well, obviously, they start pulling themselves down. And self blame, guilt, and this and that. In life, one has to live life as a journey, starting it and doing it as consciously as they can, not as a prey of their own impulses. When one focuses too much on the wants, they focus too much on wanting something, on therefore not having it. So when they do not have something and they focus on that, they will in time give up on anything because the more they convince their own energies of the fact that they don't have something, they will feel like they no longer even want it. You can give that for free, they will not simply want it. Because life goes where you convince your life energies that you have to go. The life energies do not have any conscience, they do not have any awareness. The only thing they have is the knowledge of how they function, and you should also have that. When you guide your life towards something, it will simply flow, but you need to do a lot of effort towards that. That's what some people say, you need to build a habit for something because the habit can lead you towards action. While habit means unconscious behavior always, well, it can become the foundation for something more conscious when you start actually doing that habitual action in a more conscious way and you no longer respect necessarily the hours or any such structure that you thought must exist so that it actually keeps going on. You don't have to do an action at the same exact hours, at the same exact days, at the same exact intervals. You can work consciously for less, but still do more because you worked consciously. You knew what you did. You no longer became forgetful about the details. So, living life in a more conscious way simply kind of shuns these resolutions away because now suddenly someone simply does no longer need those. Someone doesn't need in awareness, in consciousness. Someone does not need to pull themselves down. Because in many cases, people simply pull themselves down with their words because they're repeating certain things they forgot the sense of, they forgot the meaning of. Because now, when you know that action is what pulls you further, you no longer feel a need to structure that action or support that action with words. That is one of the pitfalls. It is one of the distractions. Yes, you're trying to support yourself, but there is no pillar to support yourself against. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated, take care, enjoy life, And this being said, Ferenc on board, signing out.